Welcome to Chatting with Entrepreneurs. Hello, everyone that's viewing our podcast. Welcome to Chatting with Entrepreneur podcast. I am the host, Carla Holland. I'm the executive director of Texas Tech University's Institute for Small Business. The Institute for Small Business has 4 state and federal programs that provide free and low-cost services to small businesses in Northwest Texas. For more information and details about these programs, please visit our website at www.isbAsInBoy.org. Today, we are chatting with Chelsea Criswell, who is the owner of Acre Rust Clothing Company located in Plainview, Texas. Hello,
Hi,
Chelsea. How are you?
I'm good, doing well.
Good, good, good. You have a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No problem. And thank you so much for taking the time out to share your entrepreneurial journey with myself and our listeners of our podcast. So, Chelsea, now the name of your business is Acre and Rust Clothing Company, right?
Yes, it is.
Now,
Yes.
that's an interesting name. Can you tell us how did you come up with the name?
Yes, my husband actually came up with the name. He is a cotton farmer here in Plainview. And so we farm acres. Our time is usually run by acres instead of minutes and hours. And we have a lot of rusty equipment. So all of our clothing, yeah. We even have a yard of old equipment. I call it the equipment graveyard. Every farmer usually does. So all of our clothing is just um, inspired by our farming lifestyle and agriculture lifestyle across the country.
That is awesome. And I visited your website and you have some very neat items. So I would encourage everyone to go to your website and shop. And if they're in the Plainview area, Chelsea, why don't you give them your web address and then your location for people to stop by?
We are only online right now. We're working on finding the perfect spot for us. I've got some ideas, but we weren't quite ready to move on that. But you can find us online at www.acreandrest.com. But actually, in the Lubbock area, the Fibermax Discovery Museum there in town has some of our clothing in their gift shop. So you can shop locally there in Lubbock.
Awesome. So you do have a brick and mortar location. So that's awesome. So what's your background? You said your husband is a cotton farmer, but were you always into retail or as a little girl, did you dress your dolls or you have a little sister that you dress? Tell us your background on clothing and retail experience.
Actually, I have none. I was in my mom actually did. She went to college to be a fashion buyer and she worked in retail her entire career. But I actually went into education and I was a teacher and an assistant principal for about 10 years. And my husband came up with this idea and roped me into it. And so yeah, I'm just learning as I go and I've truly enjoyed it. So it's been definitely different, but I enjoy us working together on this business and being able to make these decisions together.
Now, the interesting thing, and we get this a lot, people say, I have no experience in that, but I want to open it. It's like, okay. And so I love that you said your husband roped you into it. I hope he's an employee and you can give him some duties to do. So why clothing and jewelry then? You said you had a bunch of, farm equipment and that type of thing, but you're selling clothing, jewelry, and accessory. Why?
So yes, we do a lot on the farm, but we wanted people all over the country to just show a way to represent their pride in what they do. So shirts and hats and things are a great way to do that. It's really a big trend right now for you to just kind of your clothing to represent who you are. And so this is one thing that we wanted to do was for our clothing or the things that we wear to represent not only ourselves, but like I've said, the agricultural community.
Awesome. And I love ag. And a lot of Northwest Texas, if not most of it, is agriculture. So actually, the state of Texas and other states are very uh, ag dominant. So you really have a great clothing line. So you said your husband roped you into it and you don't have background in retail. Share with us, what did he say, or share with us the leap to starting your own business? Because like you say, you were a teacher, your background's education. And so for him to convince you, persuade you to start your own business, um, kind of what was your thought process that you said, I'm going to do this?
Yes. My husband, we started this business in 2021, and he's been farming and he's always been really creative. And so he's always kind of looked for another way to use that creative outlet. He actually does all the designs on our shirts and hats.
Nice.
Yes. So they're all drawn by a farmer. And so he's like, well, I'm just going to come up with a couple designs. Let's just try it. I mean, it was the time 2021. I feel like there was a lot of different t-shirt companies coming out. And we're like, well, let's just try. Why not? And so, I mean, COVID is just over and stuff. And so
Yeah.
we're like, let's just try something, see how it goes. We have 3 little kids and we were always hoping to do some things that are a little bit more flexible, especially being a farmer, his time, there are certain times a year that he needs to be there and he's super busy. So that was another kind of perk we thought about having our own business, is that it could be a little bit more flexible and we could really make it what we need it to be. So
Awesome.
those first few designs, people really took to them and started buying them. And so we just kept reinvesting into it and learning as we go. I joke that, we kind of threw spaghetti at the wall there for a little while because we didn't have an experience, a lot of YouTube videos in the very beginning. And just as it started to grow and people showed interest in what we were doing and what we were selling, we decided to kind of get some help and make sure that we were doing the right things business wise. And so I had someone suggest to me the SBDC, and my first meetings were with Robert about advertising and marketing and kind of looking at my social medias and our website. And so that was really helpful. And then he connected me with Chuck, and we've dived even deeper with some programs. And so it has been a lot of learning, but it has been so wonderful and it's been great for our family. And I even roped in my kids and they created a little activity book. And so we really created this
Oh,
family business through this.
that is awesome. And you actually answered my next question of what resources that you use. And I'm excited to hear that you use the Small Business Development Center and that you worked with Robert for marketing and Chuck for financials. One of the challenges when you're starting a business, I owned a business myself as well, started a business, is you don't know what you don't know. And so finding a resource like the Small Business Development Center is helpful because on a daily basis, the Small Business Development Center works with entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs, to help them to know what they don't know. And the Small Business Development Center works with about 300 or, oh, is that right? 300 or more small businesses on an annual basis. So that's great. So I'm excited that it is a family business and that your husband, who convinced you to start, actually has a prominent role. So that's awesome. When you think back, excuse me, to starting out, was there anything that prevented you from moving forward, or any thoughts where you were like, baby, let's do something else?
Part of it really was the financials. It's very different from anything I'd ever done. As an assistant principal, I dealt a little bit with our school budget, but not much. And so, it's been a huge learning curve. And really just thinking, if I can't do it, I need to find someone who can teach it to me,
Exactly,
or I'm not going to be
exactly.
successful.
And how many employees do you have?
It's just my husband and I right now. So we are, we really split the duties. He does anything with design, and I'm selling and the business background. So it's been a lot of fun to do it together.
So you said you've been in business since 2021. Can you share with us some of the highs and some of the lows that you and your husband experienced in operating this small business?
Yes, we have been doing different shows, so we'll travel to different vendor shows. And sometimes those are really big successes and sometimes they are not.
Mm,
And you just kind of find the ones that work best for your business. But it was also really helpful testing the market and getting to talk to customers from different areas. We've stayed in the Texas Panhandle, but it's given us really invaluable information getting to talk to our customers since we don't have a storefront and we're trying to um, just appeal to a larger audience outside of where we're at. So that's been really helpful. But cash flow has also been difficult because we are wholesale and retail. And so figuring all that out has been probably our biggest obstacle, but working with Chuck has been really helpful in that.
so you said you wholesale as well?
Yes, so that's why the Fiber Max Museum is able to have some of our clothing. So they'll buy it from us and resell it. And we've got a place here in Plainview and a place in Amarillo and a few others around the country as we're starting to expand that.
But you're not a company that customize. So I can't come to you and say, okay, make a shirt that displays consulting, because like you said, your mission is for people to show off what they do. So do you customize?
We do not customize. No, we do not. So it is just our own designs. Yes.
Okay. What's the one advice you wish someone would have told you prior to opening your business?
To seek out some help with figuring out your financials
Okay.
first thing and kind of getting a plan of how to scale and how to kind of, I guess, baby step it a little bit. Going viral sounds really great, but that is also comes with a lot of challenges. So like, how do you baby step this successfully and make sure that you are tracking the data you need to in order to continue that success?
Awesome. And so how do you market your business? I know where you're located, and online really does expose you um, nationally as well as globally if you can do some translation stuff. But sometimes there's a myth out there that says, build it, they will come, but that's not true. So you built it. How did you make them come? How do you market your business?
Um, yes, online social media. Building our email list has been really helpful with a pop-up on our website, but also those vendor events that I was talking about earlier have been really helpful in going to different areas in the region. And we even just traveled to Abilene a couple weeks ago and just making those connections. Connections are always important. You never know who you're going to meet
Mhm.
at events like this. So having my card or doing giveaways and getting people interested and excited about our products.
Awesome, awesome. Now, as we've said before, it's you and your husband. And a family-owned business may have a little different dynamic than a non-family business. I'll never forget, I was the consultant for a young lady who employed her mom, and her mom was her marketing person, but she wasn't doing her job. And so I said, you need to fire your mom. And she looked at me and said, I can't. I was like, well, no, she's an employee, so fire the employee. And we ended up having to just design a new role for her mom because she's like, I can't fire my mom. So how do you and your husband handle challenges when you disagree, or maybe you don't like a design, or he wants to go in a different direction?
One thing that was really helpful when we went into this is we talked about, well, these are your roles and these are my roles. And I'm a planner, and so I definitely help him stick to um our timelines essentially. And there are times that like maybe he needs to go a little longer, and we just make sure that we keep that open communication constantly. And we work through the problem until we find a solution that we're both satisfied with. There's definitely a lot of compromising. So I would say if you're going to go into business with a spouse or any family member, like be ready to compromise. And we both are, so it works.
And honestly, I think that's excellent advice. Thank you so much, Chelsea. And I think that's true with any business. You have to communicate and compromise. I'll never forget someone shared with me to be in a successful relationship, you have to give up the right to be right
Yes.
because everybody wants to be right. So you mentioned because you're an online business, social media is really big for your outreach to new customers, existing customers. How do you handle haters that may be in your social media that may say something negative or something that would bring you down? How do you handle those people?
I remember that they don't really know my whole story and they don't really know what's going on. And what's hard is a negative voice can be so much louder than all the positive voices out there. And so
Yes.
sometimes I will go back and look at messages of people that have said really positive things to remind myself that there are the right people out there who have our support or have our backs. So I just need to remind myself of those people.
And do you take time to answer all the comments when people comment to you? Or how do you deliver your customer service with everything being online?
With comments, it kind of depends. If they ask a question, I always make sure to respond. If it's just a compliment, sometimes it might just be a like for that. If they ever respond to us through our email messaging system, through our website, I make sure to respond in 24 hours, no longer than that. So I'm constantly checking my email because that's what's most important. If they're asking a question and reaching out, I need to value their time as well.
Right. And so for our podcast, we have listeners who may be thinking about starting a business. What advice would you give to them?
I would advise to reach out to the SBDC from the beginning. That was, I think that would have helped me overcome a lot of obstacles and also helped me to build a network around myself of people who are business owners. And
Mhm.
that would be really helpful just to bounce ideas off of or to get encouragement because it can definitely feel lonely at times because not everyone's doing this. And so build that network of people around you.
Oh my gosh, that is so important, Chelsea. Thank you for sharing that. You know, a lot of times we don't realize how the people that we interact with influence us. I mean, your parents knew it. They didn't want you hanging out with the bad kids. You know,
Yes.
it's like, hey, that person's in trouble. Don't hang out with them. But it holds true for adults. You want to surround yourself with individuals that are like-minded, who also, whether they're in business, they could be in senior management, you know, they don't have to all be business owners, but individuals that you can share your journey and get a positive, objective feedback of, oh, we'll try this, or oh, we'll try that. And I want to agree with you to reach out to the Small Business Development Center because they are a wealth of information. And their services, consulting services, are at no charge. So it's free services that a small business owner, whether you're starting or growing your business, can take advantage of. So Chelsea, where do you see your business in the next few years? What's your growth plan?
And we really want to be nationwide and have stores all over carrying our shirts. And I want to be able to go to the airport or wherever I'm at and see someone wearing our shirts. I mean, it's really cool. I've had someone, a neighbor I grew up next to said that she saw that one time in like Montana when they were on a trip. So
Wow.
yes, just to continue that. And we want to increase our clothing line as well to not just have t-shirts and hats, but we want to be able to make clothing that anyone in the ag industry can truly wear while they're working.
Excellent. Excellent. This has just been an awesome opportunity to spend some time with you. My last question is to give you an opportunity to share any advice that you would like to give to the audience that will help them start or grow their business. What advice would you give them?
I would say to just know ahead of time that there are going to be obstacles in your way. And so you need to also be your biggest cheerleader and find ways to remind yourself that you can do this. And if you're not sure how, that you can find someone to help you along the way. And getting help is it's something you need. And so
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing to ask for help.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Chelsea, thank you so much. Tell your husband we said hello.
I sure will.
And I want to encourage everyone to go to the website, acreandrust.com.
Yes.
But the name of the company is Acre and Rust Clothing Company.
Yes.
Okay, but don't put the clothing in the website,
Yeah.
just the acreandrust.com and visit and see what ag merchandise that Chelsea and her husband has created. I want to say thank you to our listener for taking the time to tune in with us. Again, my name's Carla Holland. I'm the Executive Director for the Texas Tech Institute for Small Business. We look forward to sharing with our listeners at a different time. Thank you.